It's time for us to get an update on what's happening with Faith Community Church in Red Oak. We have with us Pastor Dave McDonald. Pastor, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Jerry.
Did you know that the Henry Dorley Zoo in Omaha was rated being the zookeeper? I thought you'd find
Yes,
this.
I am a zookeeper. Most
Yes,
people
you
don't
are.
know that about me.
You are a zoo. I won't say that.
Don't go there,
No,
but
I
I
won't.
should belong. And don't go there.
A few thoughts ran through my mind there.
Let
but
them go on through.
Yeah, we'll just let them go on through. It was rated the number one best zoo in the whole world.
No.
The whole wide world.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You know, I know for years I had heard that the San Diego Zoo was the only zoo that was rated better. But the way Henry Dorley, and we are annual pass people, we go all the time and love what they're doing there. So I'm pleased.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to hear that. I'm not surprised, but I'm pleased.
I heard that on network news yesterday. I was going to pursue it and get more. And I don't remember who was second. Probably was San Diego, based on what you're telling me, if that has credibility.
I know that was, for years, that was sort of the model zoo that everyone tried, that was serious about it, tried to model after. I remember as a little kid, when you'd walk into the San Diego Zoo, you'd encounter a whole bunch of flamingos. That was what greeted you when you went through the gate. Just these gorgeous pink flamingos, all tall, a lot of them just kind of balancing on that one leg, asleep. And I remember being a little guy and just being overwhelmed by that sight.
But I knew, being a zookeeper, you'd enjoy knowing that.
I am, except I'm a zookeeper of weird animals, which I know surprises you, because when you think of me, the word weird never comes into your mind, I'm sure. But our Vacation Bible School started last night, Jerry, and our theme is weird animals. And what it is we are focusing on what our relationship with God looks like, helping the boys and girls understand that even when you feel alone, God is with you, and He has created wonderfully unique animals. And so we launched last night with 96 kids and just had a blast.
If I missed last night, is it too late to come?
It is not. In fact, Jerry, will start again tonight at 6:30, and all you have to do is come. If it's your first night, just come a few minutes earlier so we can register you. And it's a night filled with games and crafts and music. We have drama. And if you're a 5th and 6th grader, Jerry, we also do Vacation Bible School for you. But when you come, you can bring extra clothes, because we're going to take you into the obstacle course. And again, like every time we use that obstacle course, we never make it a fearful thing. We never force anyone to do anything they don't want to do, but they learn about teams. And last night we had several boys and girls for the first time participate in some or all of the obstacle course and loved it. So 5th and 6th grade is also a part of our Weird Animals Zoo focus for Vacation Bible School, but they have their own unique time for their own age, and so they're outside having a blast as well. So it's never too late. You don't have to be a part of Faith Community. You can join the 96 kids who came last night. We have well over 45 adults. Every team of kids that moves from place to place is accompanied by at least 2 adult couples. We have people all over there to serve. If you bring your younger children, we are there to care for you. We never make sure any little boy or girl goes to the restroom by themselves. We always have a lady escort them and keep the door open. Everything is done proper. Their privacy respected, but everything is done proper so that you can drop your boys and girls off knowing they are well cared for by amazing people, Jerry, who today are at work putting in a full day and will come tonight and serve. I am so impressed. Sometimes we pastors get a lot more credit than we deserve, because it's those people that work full-time jobs and then come and give their evenings to serve like that. Those, to me, are the real heroes.
So Vacation Bible School at Faith Community Church begins what time tonight?
It begins at 6:30, and we conclude at 8:45. We start in the sanctuary upstairs, but when you register, Jerry, you'll come around to the west side to the lower level to register and go in there. And by the way, this year we have built what's called a Gaga ball. I barely understand this, but it's an outside wood octagon about 3 feet high, and some of the boys and girls who may be listening to this already know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like a dodgeball game, except it's different, and you have to play it off the bounce. You can't hit above the waist. You have to be tall enough to get over that to play, so the younger children are not in this. But we're letting the boys and girls come early, so boy, at 15 after 6, we probably had 25 kids out there playing or watching. So we have a Gaga ball pit. You can go in. There's a place to play and relax while you're waiting for Vacation Bible School to start at 6:30. We start upstairs. You move all over throughout the evening. Special Bible story rooms, special rooms for crafts. You learn some terrific music you get to sing. And that's because, Jerry, this Sunday, we're going to change our whole schedule, because Sunday will be our last day of Vacation Bible School. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to have one service at 10 o'clock. Not our regular 2 services, one service. Everyone's invited, 10 o'clock. After that service, we will have a barbecue downstairs. You just have to show up. It doesn't cost anything. And then after the barbecue at 1 o'clock, and that's because we have boys and girls from other churches. We will, of course, let them go to their regular church and be a part of their families and their church worship time. Then they can come and join us. If they don't have time to grab a meal, they can come on down and have barbecue with us. Then at 1 o'clock, we're going to do our closing program in the sanctuary. And Jerry, every year with our Vacation Bible School, we set a missions goal, and we always find a specific missions project. And I couldn't tell you about it last week because I was waiting to hear from a young lady who actually was in El Salvador for 6 months serving. You spoke with Julie Showalter a few weeks ago. Her oldest daughter, Victoria, went and served 6 months in El Salvador. And she found a project, a church that is raising money for its ministry, reaching out. It's in the most unsafe, one of the most poor sections of El Salvador. So they are really right in the ground center of a whole lot of unrest and a whole lot of boys and girls that need protection, but also need love and be shown what Jesus' love looks like. They have found a way. A church in the United States purchased a water purifier for them. So they are putting their water in. Jerry, I noticed in your office you have that big drum of water that you turn upside down for your bubbler. Well, people there will buy those 5-gallon bottles because their water's not safe. But the problem has been for them to put a cap on that and seal it has been a very long, drawn-out process. We want to purchase them the machine for $3,500 that will allow them to seal. They've got the water purified. They'll be able to seal them right in those jugs and immediately get them out and available to the people. And the funds they raise from that goes back into the ministry, and it's a very worthwhile neighborhood that needs to see the love of Christ. We want to purchase that. But our missions goal is not $3,500. Our goal is $4,500 because we'd like to raise another $1,000 because we spent time in Dominican Republic, and they are right now have their eye on a village of over 210 people, and it is their prayer goal that every home in that village gets their own water filter system. It can be done for about $35 each, and so what we want to do is help them make that a reality. So anything over $3,500 will go toward that Dominican project. So it's about clean, safe drinking water. It's about reaching people with the love of Jesus by giving them good physical water so they then can experience good spiritual water. So we're excited about it. And as usual, the boys and girls take on each other in the offering, Jerry, and we also invite old people to give their money because we'll take paper and checks anytime. And then every night we weigh to see who gives the most, the boys and girls. Last night the girls won the first round, $180 came in, and the girls are a little bit ahead, but I think they got the boys back up. And they're going to try and come back tonight with a vengeance. So missions project, every penny that goes into that, Jerry, goes into a fund. As soon as it's all in, we write one check immediately out to where it goes. And since both of these projects are with our own denomination, we send it directly to them with the account numbers, and they go right out. So people know that what I give goes directly to what we say it goes for. Doesn't defray our VBS costs. We don't use a little portion of it because of what we do to be involved. Every penny you give to that offering goes immediately overseas.
And when they make the $4,500 goal,
well, interestingly enough, we have decided that Melissa needs to kiss something. Now, she came to me, and my daughter Melissa, and said, Dad, last year I had to kiss a pig, and I still haven't recovered. And so I said, well, Melissa, you're right. That wasn't fair. So this year, I want you to kiss an exotic animal. Since our theme is weird animals, I have found a weird animal for her to kiss. She does not know what it is. She will not know what it is until we reach the goal. And the first time she sees it on Sunday at 1 o'clock, she'll be puckering up. Because it's a faith goal, Jerry. It's not a small thing to raise $4,500. Mm-hmm. Last year our goal was $4,000, and we raised it. And this year we've decided we've got to keep stretching that boundary up. And obviously we depend on the kindness of God's people as well as the boys and girls bringing their pennies. And sometimes the boys will get a little wise and go, "Hey, if I bring a roll of pennies, that weighs more than her $20 bill." But I always make sure the one that gives the most has the heaviest bucket because it is about the amount. The weight is a fun thing to compare, but I make sure the winner weighs more. So, yep, Melissa will kiss an exotic animal. And J.D. Kingery, our brand new children's pastor, who just started last Friday, is already in the thick of VBS. And I haven't asked J.D.'s permission, but it seems to me that a new children's pastor ought to also kiss something. So we're going to figure something out for him as well, because we want the boys and girls to get excited.
And this will all take place then after 1 o'clock on Sunday.
This well, because how the 1 o'clock last Vacation Bible School meeting will work, Jerry. The first thing we'll do at 1 o'clock, before they even see the closing program, we'll take the last of our offering, and then we'll immediately take that money. We've already have counted everything that's come the first 4 times, because our Vacation Bible School, Jerry, was last night, tonight, Friday, and Saturday night, all at 6:30, done by 8:45. We'll have already counted all that money. And what we find is historically a lot of our money, sometimes all our money combined, comes in one service in that last service. So we immediately have teams waiting to whisk that money away, count it, add it to our previous, so we can come back and do a total.
Very good.
Yes.
Now, Vacation Bible School, 6:30 until 8:45, is for what ages?
It's for age 4 all the way up through, if you finish 6th grade, you can come.
What does the job description of the zookeeper look like?
Well, I'll tell you, you got to keep an eye. There's a lot of, if you go down our hallways, there are plants I have never, this is a strange zoo, Jerry. In fact, we've got a guy named Dr. Paws, who claims to be an expert, and he came and visited us last night, but I'm not so sure he knows what he's doing. But it seems to me if you're going to pick a doctor to
He
take
should fit right in then, I would.
You notice how I
He'll
tried
feel-
to talk fast
he'll
through
feel-
that?
He'll feel right at home, Dr. Paws will.
See, I took a breath and I gave you the opening.
I'm sorry, go
no,
ahead.
No, you're not. It seems like he's a perfect fit for these weird animals in this zoo. So you travel down the hallways, you see plants like you've never seen before. You see flowers that are unusual. It's just a strange, fun environment.
It's for kids from anywhere.
Anywhere, you are welcome to come. And we know the school year is just around the corner. We decided this year, let's do our VBS right before the start of school, get the kids kind of ready to go for the school year. Those who don't have church homes, let them know we can be there. We talked to a lovely mom last night who's just moved back into the area, and so if we become a place for her, glad to. If we just help her adjust and she finds another place, that's also good. But yeah, we wanted to do it in August and kind of get a head of steam going as we kick into our fall programs.
Thanks to you and Connie and to your family and to the family of Faith Community, a lot of volunteers
It's
that
amazing.
obviously put a lot of time into this.
It's amazing.
To make this unique and very special experience available for the youth of our Country Sunshine listening area. A heartfelt thanks for their willingness to be obedient to God's direction in their lives and make time. As you said, they're busy people.
They are, Jerry, but who would blame them if they stay home and relax because they've got to go to work the next day. And here they are, and we don't start till Wednesday night, so they've already put in 3 full days of work. And what do they do Wednesday night when it's time to eat? Now, we do make a meal for our workers, but instead of going home and relaxing, they're immediately putting on their Zookeeper T-shirt and coming on in. So they really are what makes it a success. I mean, Melissa's worked hard to direct this. Connie always works hard. Becky, our secretary. I mean, these are amazing people who do a lot of work. Pastor Brett, myself, don't do near as much as they do. But the simple fact is once it begins, it's the men and women of Faith Community that make it happen. They're the reason why it succeeds. There's the reason why boys and girls feel loved and welcomed. And, well, you just saw a whole lot of smiles on their face last night.
Let's look back to last weekend. Give me a summation of how it went with Jamie Smith.
Well, Jamie Smith is an amazing lady. First of all, just to hear her sing, this sounds funny, but as soon as I heard her open her mouth and sing, I thought, yeah, she's a professional. And I mean that in all the positive ways. The way she sang, the quality, the timbre of her voice. I mean, I felt like I could have been sitting easily in an auditorium of several thousand people, and yet here we were in our Saturday morning worship seminar, experiencing her voice, because we spent some time just doing that and singing and worshiping the Lord, then giving her gleaning from her insights about worship and leading. So that was just a great morning. We had 4 churches represented, and then Saturday night we had a concert by her. And Jamie had brought her own bass player named Janet Hubble, who is an amazing lady and quite a talented musician. But the rest of the team, the background vocals, every other piece of instrument was our team. And if you had not known it coming Monday or Sunday night, Saturday night to hear the concert, you would have assumed this was her entourage, and she just showed up with the tour bus, unloaded, set up, and sang. Our people just did amazing. And then a great Sunday morning with her. She worked so hard. She did a lot of singing, did both of our services. It was a golden Sunday. It was just amazing.
What stood out to you about her?
The fact that she was eminently qualified to do what she does, but she never once gave you the feeling that she was talking down to you or she was playing down to her accompanists. She had just a gentle humility about her, and you could tell when she sang she really loved God. It just showed all over her face. And Jerry, I've seen some people who sing, and they kind of look like they knew it, but and only God knows what goes on inside a person's heart. But it is sometimes to me felt like they're smiling because this is where they're supposed to smile, and they're looking this way because this is the cue in the music where you look that way. And with Jamie, none of it was rehearsed. It was just her heart spilling out through her music to us. It was great.
Interesting, because I did a little research to see what the opinion was of the weekend.
Good.
And virtually everything you have said is exactly what I have heard. Number one, people couldn't believe how it all just fell together, and that's not an accurate or good word, but how it all came together as if they worked together all the time.
Right,
right. The Faith Community Church people, as well as Jamie Smith, they have said it was just amazing how it all integrated perfectly, and it seemed like they'd had months to prepare, and obviously they didn't.
No, they didn't. And our team, and of course Julie, who's just so amazing, and is
Julie Showalter,
and she has set a bar, and she sets a bar that we do things well, and so she expects the team to come with that attitude. And my goodness, and then of course Jonathan, her husband, runs our sound. And if you know anything about sound, running it for a professional who brings like her own $800 microphone. And all the dynamics that, just reminds you that there's a whole lot higher level out there. You couldn't have told it. You would have assumed she brought her own sound man. Jonathan was amazing. And so there you go. Just benefiting from these incredible people. Lisa doing the visuals, so as she sang, we could see the words and we could sing along with her. I mean, what an amazing team. It was just great. Jerry, I know you're not supposed to, but there are times, last night, last weekend before when we did the challenge, and we had the young men and women downstairs having a service, the same time we were having a service upstairs. I just get so proud of our church. I mean, I know if God weren't in it, we could still be busy. We could still look good. We could still do a lot of stuff. But I know it's God that breathes life and makes it happen. But I'm so proud of our church. This is an amazing body.
Another thing I heard was what you also alluded to, and that is that while she is an exceptional professional talent, she comes across as being one of us.
You would think she was probably just someone's cousin coming for a visit, and you wouldn't know otherwise, so she opened up her mouth and started playing and singing, and then you'd realize, wow, this is not some sincere musician. This is a consummate professional who really, and then of course so many of them were her own songs she sung that she has written, and so she's singing them from her heart. Who knows the stories of the writing, but she does. And some of the songs that she sang, I remember years ago with our high school kids back then. We used to do a thing on Friday night. The kids were saying back then, Pastor, we want something to do on Friday. We want to be with people who love the Lord. And there's so many wrong choices we could make on Friday. So we actually started a thing called Sanctuary. And there would be about anywhere from 12 to 20 of us that would meet on Friday nights, and we'd just sing and worship. And one of the songs we always had to sing and play and sing to was one of Jamie's songs. So fast forward a few weekends ago when I started getting to know her songs, and I stumbled across more than one song that had been a part of my own, I'll say, worship repertoire, because I do a lot of my own music worship when I'm alone with the Lord, and then some that we had used in youth group in the past. So it was just fun to see that all come together and see this lovely lady who had penned those amazing words.
Great.
Yeah, it was. It was just. It's been a very hectic. I mean, from the challenge to the worship to VBS, any one of those could have filled 1 month with a whole lot of busyness, and to do 3 of them literally back to back to back, it's just been busy, but incredibly rewarding. And here we get to gather tonight with boys and girls. And Jerry, whatever the age of that boy or girl, she's going to be, or he is going to be led by a mom and dad, by a husband and wife. They're going to see a couple that love each other, walking them around and connecting with them. We don't have any perfect marriages, but we're letting them see men not just women. Thank God for women, but they get to see men out there doing it as well. And it's fun to watch some of those boys and girls see that, and you can tell this is something good for them to see.
I kind of thought maybe Melissa Joy would be wanting to come in this morning.
I didn't. I'll tell you, I don't want to spill any of her beans. She's getting lots of stuff in motion, and I want her to spill her own beans. But she's been very, very busy, and so I just didn't have the heart to ask her. She does a way better job than I do, way more personable. But she's running right now. She's just finished a summer of camp where she would speak at camps everywhere from Florida to, I think, Alabama, Minnesota, a couple in Nebraska, so she's kind of winding down and yet picking up steam because she hops on the plane next week, I think, for Arizona. So we have her around for a little bit. And she's actually directing our Vacation Bible School.
Give us a hint. What's she going to be doing?
Well, let's
Give us a hint.
Let's just say she's been working hard on a book to be published, and the work is done.
So it'll be released soon.
It could be. And I honestly don't know. I'm not being coy with you, but it looks like she has found a publisher, and they're very excited, love what she's done, and so my little girl is going to be a published author. So
God is good, isn't he?
it is, and it proves once again, in spite of your father, you just might turn out.
All right, what else is upcoming that we went? MOPS, are we doing MOPS program?
Well, not yet. That'll start this fall, coming in September. I'm going to kind of stay away from any September talk because it's August, but I will tell you, Jerry, we're launching a brand new Financial Peace University Tuesday, August 26th. We've already gotten inquiries. It's going to be at the church Tuesday night, starting at 7 o'clock. The classes are 9 weeks long. You're there about 95 to 100 minutes. We come, we have drinks and snacks for you. You get to see a wonderful presentation by Dave Ramsey each week, and then we divide up and talk about it. And the one thing I want to assure people, Jerry, with Financial Peace is a couple things. First of all, you don't have to be a financial disaster to come. But if you are a financial disaster, you don't have to be afraid about coming. No one's going to learn your business. We're not going to ask you embarrassing questions. We're not going to stick our nose where it doesn't belong. And I was there, Jerry, not many years ago. I was that person that as soon as if some other guy was on the radio talking about this, I'd already be wanting to tune them out because I didn't want to face what was in front of me, that I was not, my money was in control of me. I can give you all the right reasons how it got there. I can point out to the sports car I never bought. I can tell you I made no major big impulsive purchases, but I made a lot of little impulsive purchases. And it's funny how little ones add up. And every time there's an emergency, a ruined engine in a van, a medical emergency with a daughter, including an emergency flight home from Germany, there was nothing I could do about it but lay down a credit card again because it had to be done. It wasn't an option. And so the hole I was in, Jerry, got deeper and deeper. So there was a time when I kind of did that, you put your fingers in your ear and you start whistling to yourself so you can't see and hear what's going on. That was me. So if you are there, I want to assure you, and by the way, the first night of FPU, you can come. You don't have to purchase a kit. You can just try it on for size and see if you want it. Because the simple matter is, Jerry, to get control of our finances, 80% of that journey is going to be between our ears. And it's when we start changing our attitude and start doing it different. And I want to tell you, I was that guy with the elephant in the room. And I had to start taking a bite of that elephant one bite at a time. And there were times, I got to tell you, it felt like I was sledding uphill in peanut butter. But I just stayed with it, and I changed how I did things. Not radical changes, little changes. That's what we want FPU to do. If you're a wreck, if you could be a wreck, your kids are heading toward college, and you see wreck down the road, you're really good with your money. But you know what? It never hurts to get a tune-up. It's kind of like getting a physical. You know how we see the doctor when you're sick? It's good to go when things are good. Stay sharp. Tune up. Wherever you are in that, Jerry, you're invited to come. It's going to start August 26th, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Now, the kit's $93. And if you want to buy a kit, we have them for you. In fact, Jerry, what I've done is I'm sending word out. If you go by our office before that Sunday, the 24th, and you pick up a kit, we'll knock $5 off. I mean, you can order online at daveramsey.com and get your kit right there. You can also get it from us and save on shipping. We have kits available, 93, and we do ask it, and it's one per couple, a kit. And we do ask that you make the investment. We sometimes will offer a little bit of an incentive, glad to do that, but you need to spend some money to start changing how you handle money. And so we do that, and it's always an amazing time, Jerry. We see lives changed, and it's not a religious thing, although there are principles that are true, and every true principle comes from the Bible, because God is truth. Jesus Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. So the principles are just sound. Ramsey sometimes will say on the radio, Dave Ramsey, we give you the same advice your grandmother used to give you, except we keep our teeth in. So coming up to 26, love to have anyone be a part of it. $93 for the kit for a couple, or if you come to the church, we'll sell it to you for $88, and you can pick it up right there, no shipping. And we'll be done before Halloween. We'll start August 26th, and we will be all done before Halloween.
But they can come the 26th without no further commitment.
They can come without any further commitment. Just show up and try it out. We'll have kits available if they decide to purchase. No pressure, but we'll have available for you. So if you decide after that first night, I'm in, it's right there for you. And we had several do that every time. They'll come, and they're kind of wanting to see, and we invite, try before you buy, because we don't do this to make money, and we don't get extra brownie points from Dave Ramsey. We're just doing it because it's a way to serve our community. The number one reason couples fight, Jerry, is money. So when we're helping people manage their finances, we're helping them model to their children, helping make their marriage a little bit more easy in times when those emergencies hit. There's a whole lot of reasons why we do this. And the last several FPUs, Jerry, most of the people who attend do not attend Faith Community Church. And we love that. We love that.
But you knew the biblical principles of finances and giving and
I did.
And fiscal responsibility before FPU.
I did.
So what was different about FPU that made a difference in how you handled your finances?
That's a great question. And I need to tell you that I started making the change before I knew about FPU. So I can't tell you FPU is what began my change. FPU I discovered in the midst of my change, and it was wonderful confirmation and gave me a better way to prioritize how I was doing it. Like Dave Ramsey has, the very first step he gives you to do is a very doable step you can probably do in 2 weeks, and it makes all the difference. And so what it did was, Jerry, it's not what I know, it's what I do with what I know. And so I knew, but I'd kind of become inoculated to the disease without actually being infected by it. I knew what money meant. I would try to be a faithful giver to my church, and lots of times I was not. My bills were more powerful. I'd choose to, I got to say the way Malachi in the book of the Old Testament says, I chose to cheat God and pay my other bills first. And it was all out of whack. And there were times when I actually called credit card companies, and I said, look, I'm in trouble here, but I want to honor. I do not want to default. You just got to work with me. And they could have cared less. They could have cared less and wanted their money now. And those are all those dawning moments that made me realize the only change that has to happen is in me. And so FPU for me confirmed. Now, I can tell you several alumni. Just talked with alumni last night who probably took it 6 years ago, who the end of this year will be completely out of debt. And they had a monster story to tell, similar to mine. So, Jerry, it's just, for some of us, it's reminding us what we know, but teaching us how to start taking the steps to put into practice what we know. In fact, there are 2 words for know in the Bible language called the Greek. And the one word means you know it in your head, but you're not doing anything about it. The other word for know is you know it because you've put it into practice. Well, when we're reading the Bible, knowing it according to the Bible means we've already put it into practice. If we're not putting it into practice, we don't know it. Now, maybe you come, Jerry, and you're not like me. You don't know the basics. You never saw it role modeled, and you don't even have a clue where to begin. Perfect place to begin, either to redirect your behavior or to learn for the first time how to do it differently. And one of the things Ramsey will talk about, and obviously we're not seeing people give to our church, we don't care, but he'll talk about when you're tight like this and you need to redo your finances, you should be giving already somewhere to something bigger than you are. That makes no sense. When your finances are tight, you need to cover your wagons, pull that purse string tight, and don't give anywhere. Well, the Bible teaches when we give, we get. I don't mean things, but you get this blessing to you. And I'll never forget when I started changing my giving habits to consistency. And I got to tell you, I felt those checks every time I wrote them. But I began a habit that I haven't lost since then. And that's Saturday night, I write my first check because I get paid weekly. My first check's to the church. And it's, in fact, last Saturday's check's in my upper right drawer in the office because I forgot to put it in my pocket during Sunday. I was so busy enjoying Jamie, I blinked out in between the services. So I'll be putting 2 checks in this week. So, Jerry, that's it. For those of us who know better that aren't doing it, it's kind of like, okay. It's kind of like our children saying, yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do, and then they don't do it. Well, you want to find yourself saying to them, then you don't know what you're supposed to do. You just say you do. But to know it and not do it is the same as not knowing it and not doing it.
If they want to know more about FPU, how can they find out?
Well, they can contact the church at 623-3472. They can go on the nationaldaveramsey.com website. They can go on redoakfaith.org. I would be glad to talk to you and answer any questions. Just send an email out to a young couple that asked a question this morning. I think by their cell number, they're probably somewhere out by Stanton. Don't know. Answered their questions. I'll talk to you and I'll answer any questions I can.
Dave McDonald, pastor of the Faith Community Church in Red Oak, with us this morning for our regular Thursday morning update on what's happening at Faith Community Church and what God's doing in people's lives and what he wants to do in yours if you'll give him the opportunity to do that.
That's right.
Why does God infect people with Ebola?
Well, you see, God doesn't infect people with Ebola. The Ebola.
I would have been real disappointed, Pastor, if that had not been your first comment. You were very gentle in the way you said that. I'm a little surprised at that.
Well,
I expected you to come back a little stronger at me than you did, but I would have been disappointed if that had not been your first response. All right, go on from there.
Well, I have missionary friends, the Hoskins, who we met last year. They were living in Clarinda before they returned to West Africa. They work in businesses, but they work and live in West Africa to share Christ. And we just got word from them about Ebola. And, of course, frankly, our press is covering Ebola because it's infecting some of our people. And we certainly need to be aware of that. But I got to tell you, Jerry, I'm a little resentful that the stories that the press tends to focus on is stories that may affect us, so it's more of a sensationalism rather than let's go back to the place where Ebola's at. Let's go back to the poverty of that country. Let's go back to a broken system that allows this to flourish and spread. So unavoidably, eventually some missionaries who are there serving will contract it. But we like to stare at the branches and get all enamored by the branches needing some sort of health and trimming, but we don't go to the roots. And the roots is there's broken systems because there are countries run by people that don't honor God. And I got to tell you, when we put God first as a nation, it changes everything. Doesn't mean life gets a bed of roses, but Ebola has come from poverty and bad management and poor health systems. It hasn't come because God's up there in a bad mood and decided to throw it at us. And I know you were asking the question because you're a good interviewer, but there's a lot of people, Jerry, that want to ask God the why questions when it gets tough, but don't want to ask the why questions when it gets good. All that tells me is we don't want an answer from God, we want things better. There's nothing wrong with questioning God. The Psalms is filled with David and other authors of Psalms saying, God, why? I don't get this. That's great. I think God loves that kind of honesty. But don't try and answer your own question. Because where they land is, I don't know. You do. You are good. I'm going to trust you. Otherwise, we're going to try and get this God in the box. It's going to do what we want when we want it. And the only time we seek him is when things are tough and we ignore him when things are good. Ebola is one of several things hurting. We talked about the border a few weeks ago. Let's pick our poison. Well, if God gives us free choice, that means that the consequences of our choice are ours. If he moves in to stop consequences, we don't really have free choice. If he moves in to prevent us from making wrong decisions, we don't really have free choice. So the real question is, why aren't we really going to the root issue of Ebola rather than focusing on 2 very deserving missionaries who need our prayer? Definitely. But that's not the real story.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I treat those stories as a good reminder to pray, and I've prayed for them, and I don't know them, and SIM is an excellent mission-sending organization, Sudan Interior Mission, so you bet I pray, it breaks my heart. But I also go back to where my friend, the Hoskins Andrew's working, and the poverty, and I go to the place where the church is at, where we're going to raise some money to help them seal those water bottles in one of the most unsafe parts of one of the most unsafe countries, El Salvador. And I sit and go, I look at those kids, I look at those broken homes, and my heart breaks. And so we will make a difference by reaching them, doing one person at a time.
So if people would like to give to that project, but they're not of age to come to Bible school, could they do that?
What I like to say is we'll always take old people money. It's always good to have the children bring money. You sure could, Jerry. You can come by the church anytime and just say this is for the offering, and you just need to know every penny will go toward that. That's what I want them to know. There will be a sealing machine in that church. That's not what it's called, but a sealer machine in that church, God willing, by October. And there will be water filters in homes in the village in the Dominican Republic. And when we were in the Dominican Republic, Jerry, we couldn't brush our teeth with the water. We couldn't open our mouths in the shower because there are just things you don't want inside of you. Mm-hmm. And so to give people safe drinking water, I mean, can you think of a more basic need than that? So, yeah, you bet.
So you can just drop a check off at the church, or maybe maybe you have a grandchild that you could give a check to and have them take it to Vacation Bible
And
School.
if you don't, and you want to just find me or Pastor Brett or Pastor JD or the office, and you want to bring it in and say, put this toward the boys or the girls or half and half, we will honor that. So you betcha. Because obviously, Jerry, it's fun to see the boys and girls do it, and they are aggressive, but you also know that we reach those kinds of numbers because of adults who also own that passion and vision and give because of that.
But it could be an excellent opportunity for you as a parent or as a grandparent to share a meaningful experience with your child or grandchild or a neighbor kid that would go to Vacation Bible School.
Absolutely. And by the way, Jerry, if you write a check, we'll make sure at the end of the year you get a receipt for that gift. And that is tax deductible. It's all properly identified by the IRS. So if you choose to do a check, even if we've never seen you before, if I remember, Chris automatically will send you a receipt at the end of the year. And Chris is the only one that knows who gives what. But obviously for tax purposes, at the end of each calendar year, we do a receipt. Here's what was given by you under the different arms of what Faith Community Church does. So to me, that's a very small reason to do it, but I'd be kind of amiss if I didn't tell you there could be a tax benefit by your generosity as well.
Very good. All right, what else do you want us to know this morning?
Just that God loves you, Jerry, even when you're imperfect, when you mess up, when you don't think of Him, when you forget to pray because you got up late and you didn't treat Marilyn right. I'm only picking on you because I could insert my name and the name of my wife there. And when we don't think of Him, He's always thinking of us. And He's always a prayer away, and you do not have to get your act together to reach out to Him. He is not your in case of emergency break glass God. He loved you enough to send His Son to die for you, and He wants to have a relationship with you, but He'll only do it at your speed. When you're ready, He's waiting. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
I see.
It's that easy, Jerry, to start and build and grow in Christ. It's just not that hard. It's only hard when we don't want to.
There's lots of hurting folks out there today that have lost loved ones, that have been given news that they didn't want to hear about their health, that are dealing with a financial situation that they've, for whatever reason, much like you have shared of your own testimony, put themselves into a hole that they really don't see any way out of at this point.
Right.
Who have children that are ill, maybe terminally, and they don't understand why. Say something to them that gives them a reason to continue on.
Well, I can tell you right now in the McDonald family, in the last week, we've had two things happen that very much remind us of the frailty of life and how things could change so very quickly. And they're very close to our heart. So, folks, you need to know, myself and Connie, we're living there right now with you. And I don't go into detail because it's not important, but I want you to know I'm not talking from a position giving you words that a pastor is supposed to say. I'm telling you as a man, as a daddy, and as a grandpa that I'm trusting the Lord because He is good. And so I may not be going the way I want it to go right now, but you see, I can't remember too many times in my life when life goes the way I want it to go because life is filled with life and and people and ups and downs. But my God is good, and I can go to him in prayer, and I can relay those burdens at his feet, and I can know that just as 2 weeks ago, so now the ones I love are still in his watchful care, and nothing has changed. A doctor's report doesn't suddenly make someone more in need of God. All a doctor's report does is remind us every day it's because of his permission we breathe and move and have our being. So don't try to find strength. Don't try to find answers. Just take your pain to God and keep hurting while you talk to him. But know he is good. Don't live in fear. Don't live in fear. Peace is not the absence of difficulty. Peace is the presence of God.
God bless you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks for your time. Pastor Dave McDonald, Faith Community Church in Red Oak. You'll always find a welcome there. You'll always find God there waiting to assist you and meet you with your needs. So you're, again, welcome. Don't forget Vacation Bible School, and encourage your children, your neighbors, your grandchildren to be a part of that as well.